Africa's investment world. This podcast is brought to you by Daba, your most comprehensive platform for investing in African stocks, bonds, and managed funds. You can download the Daba app on your favorite Google and Apple app stores. We start this week with excellent news for all investors in Francophone Africa. The regional stock exchange, the BRVM, continued its positive momentum during the week of August 25 to 29. Yes, you heard right. The market rose again, confirming renewed optimism and growing confidence from investors across our region. In this weekly episode, we'll break down the three big themes of the week. First, the performance of the market indexes, then the standout gainers and losers, and finally, the bond market. At each stage, I'll explain what this means in concrete terms for you. Whether you are an individual investor, an entrepreneur, or a member of the diaspora looking to better understand African markets. Opening on the indexes. Let's start with the indexes, where the news is quite encouraging. The main index of the BRVM, the Composite, rose by 0.47% to reach 320.53 points. The BRVM 30 index, which covers the 30 most liquid stocks, gained 0.49% to settle at 155.56 points. And finally, the BRVM Prestige index, which focuses on large-cap quality stocks, was up 0.57% at 132.87 points. So what does this mean for you? It means that the rise is not limited to one or two isolated stocks. The entire market is benefiting, with renewed interest across the board. That's a strong sign that confidence is coming back both from institutional investors and retail investors. To give you context, more than 5,149,000 shares were traded during the week, representing a total value of 4.285 billion francs CFA. That's up 5.08% compared to the previous week, a clear signal that activity is picking up across the regional exchange. Sector analysis and top gainers. Now, let's turn to the sectors and the top performers of the week. Once again, the textile sector was the star. It rose by 23.4%. That is huge. And it's not just an abstract figure. It means that companies in this sector, despite facing import challenges and global competition, are regaining investor confidence. The perfect example is Uniwax Côte d'Ivoire. Its share price rose 23.24% in just 1 week to reach 875 francs CFA. Why such a jump? Because the company reported very strong results for the first quarter of 2025. Revenue up 14%, a significant reduction in operating losses, and most importantly, a net profit of 8.206 billion francs CFA, thanks to a sale and leaseback operation. For investors, this kind of performance is a breath of fresh air. It shows that local companies can restructure and return to profitability, even after difficult years. But Uniwax was not alone on the podium. Sicor Côte d'Ivoire gained 21.21% to close at 4,000 francs CFA, and CFAO Côte d'Ivoire advanced 20.45% to 795 francs CFA. What should we take from this? These spectacular gains show that investors are repositioning into industrial and commercial companies considered strategic. It reflects expectations of renewed consumer demand and industrial activity in Côte d'Ivoire and across the region. The losers of the week. Of course, not everything was positive. Some shares corrected. The steepest decline was SITAB Côte d'Ivoire, down 11.89% to 8,900 francs CFA. But here's the key. This drop was mainly technical, linked to the dividend detachment. In other words, it was not about lost confidence, but a mechanical adjustment. Elsewhere, Africa Global Logistics lost 8.79% to 1,400 francs CFA, and Bernabé Côte d'Ivoire fell 6.32% to 1,180 francs CFA. These types of declines are often profit-taking moves after a period of gains. For you as an investor, the lesson is clear. Always distinguish between a technical drop tied to a dividend payout and a more fundamental decline due to weaker business prospects. The bond market. Now let's shift to the bond market, which also delivered very good news. The total market capitalization for bonds rose significantly from 10,456.4 billion francs CFA to 10,967.5 billion francs CFA. That's a gain of 3.93% in just 1 week. To put it simply, capitalization is the total value of all bonds outstanding. When it rises, it means the market is attracting more investors and there is more liquidity. For you, that translates into more opportunities to diversify beyond equities. In terms of activity, 104,077 bonds were traded, with a total value of 985.6 million francs CFA. This shows strong momentum in this segment. The standout star was the 10-year bond issued by the state of Senegal, paying 5.95%. This single bond represented 78.70% of the weekly trading volume, with more than 81,649 securities traded for a total of 775.7 million francs CFA. What does this tell us? It shows that Senegal's sovereign bonds remain attractive as a safe and liquid instrument, especially for investors seeking stable income through bond coupons. What this means for investors? So, what should you take away from this week? First, the BRVM is showing strong resilience, attracting more trading volume. Second, certain companies, particularly in textiles, industry, and distribution, are proving capable of delivering strong performance and surprising the market. And third, the bond market remains a very appealing option for securing part of your portfolio. For you, whether you're an individual investor, an entrepreneur, or part of the diaspora, the message is simple. There are real opportunities here, but it is essential to select the right securities and maintain a balanced portfolio. Looking ahead to next week. And what about next week? Without revealing the details reserved for Daba Pro subscribers, here's a hint. Current momentum suggests that certain industrial and financial sectors may continue to attract interest. Investors should stay alert to upcoming earnings releases and macroeconomic announcements in the region. In other words, the trend is encouraging, but careful selection will be key. This is exactly where Daba Pro makes the difference. With Daba Pro, you receive weekly stock recommendations, detailed exclusive analysis, early access to data, and reduced investment fees. For modern investors, it's the essential tool to not just follow markets, but stay ahead of them. To receive weekly recommendations, benefit from exclusive analysis, and lower your fees, subscribe today to Daba Pro. With Daba Pro, you don't just follow the markets, you stay ahead. That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to the Daba Markets Talk podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with another update. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating, follow us, and share with friends. Remember, this information is for educational purposes. Always do your own research or consult with a financial advisor before making investment decisions. And download the Daba app on your app store to start investing in African stocks, bonds, and manage portfolios through your phone and find other helpful content. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing your financial knowledge.